Bilo from the Gambia Immigration Department. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. And I just wondered quickly, are you aware of the story about the intention by Gambian immigration officers to sell passports? It's on the front page of one of the newspapers. I just wonder, were you aware of that story?
I've read the story in the morning before coming over.
Right. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Perhaps we will talk about the passports for today.
Okay.
The occasion we talk about.
All right. Okay. Now, we're saying that there's a surge in passports, applications for passports, and there's been a press release issued. So what's that all about?
Thank you very much. You're right. Over the past weeks, we have seen an increased number of applicants for the passport. From our interactions with some of the applicants, we were able to confirm, because it's true that usually the passport is always it has so many applicants down there. But what we have seen over the past weeks is a different case. Like the number has increased subsequently. So when we engage with some of them as to the reason why they need the passport urgently, we were told that some of them want to also try their luck and their chances when it comes to this Spain migration policies that the government has signed. So we haven't gone in depth, but then from that discussion with them, we understood that that could be the reason why some of them need the applications. Apart from also those who are trying that too, we have a different category. Like we also those who want to go in for their master's programs, going for studies abroad. So they also want to get their passports as soon as possible. So as a result, the number had increased over the past week.
Okay, and so are you giving priority, and if so, how are you deciding how to prioritize?
Well, we treat every applicant equally at the level of the passport office. There are occasions when we treat certain people with special needs. For example, when somebody has a medical condition,
I was going to come
you're
to
supposed to go, for example, for treatment abroad. In those occasions, if you're able to provide evidences that you need the passport urgently, we usually facilitate that. When it comes to just normal applications, we treat everybody equally. Whether you are applying to get a passport to go to abroad, anywhere you want to go to, once there's no urgency in the case, we do not give you.
Because that's the point I was kind of getting to. So if somebody says, I'm getting this in the hope that I will be on this Spain contract that's been announced, and there's been no date for that, and then somebody else says, I'm doing a master's in Turin in Italy and I need to be there in 2 weeks' time, there's obviously a difference in urgency between those two. It's not a medical urgency.
I would agree, but then usually if you're applying for masters, you at least have a time span to also work on your passport before you were to travel to abroad. And we believe as Gambians, a passport is a traveling document. And once you have an intention to travel, you should be able to at least have a timeline as to when can I work on my passport. Because usually when we enroll applicants, we give them at least a duration of 2 weeks to get comfort their passport. So whether you're going for masters or you're going for any other issue, we believe you should take it upon yourself to at least apply for the passport at a very early stage, so at the end you can have it on time.
Now, do we have a kind of turnaround time? I know I won't dare tell you how quickly I can get my passport from England, but what sort of turnaround time? And the reason I asked that, because you're urging the public, and you said that this application involves several stages, which include submission, application forms, interview, enrollment, verification, approval, and production. So do you give people a kind of, say, if I hand in my application today, how soon or how?
Yes, so these procedures we capture in our communications have been there even before. What happened is then the number of applicants you receive a day isn't that much. So instead of now asking them to come on a different day, you can manage and have them finish the entire procedures on the same day. But now the fact that the number had increased, a day you can see about 500 to 1,000 applicants on the ground. If you go to the office right now, just around the gate, you can see it. The crowd, it's quite massive. When I passed by there yesterday, it was just crazy. So you tend to understand that when you look at our capacity, for instance, we are not able to produce on a day about 500 passports. So now if you have about 1,000 people at the gate waiting to also have their passport on the same day being processed, it becomes a challenge. So what we did was we just had to reactivate what was there before. The procedures we had there. The procedure is when you make your payment to the bank to get your passport, the bank will issue you with your passport receipt and the
yeah.
passport form.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as an applicant, what you do, we have what you call as the JPs, Justice of Peace.
Yes, yes.
Those are the ones you sometimes see sitting around the passport office.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because sometimes people wonder, who are these people
Exactly.
sitting there? They think there's some kind of agents who can speed things up for you, but they're not.
They're
and I'm
not.
glad that you
The
mentioned
Justice
that. So
of
please,
Peace, what
carry
they
on.
do,
Yes, yes.
because the passport form, before it can be processed, has to be authenticated.
Yeah, quite, quite.
And by virtue of their portfolios, they are given that mandate
Right.
to authenticate those passports. So that is why we have them there. So in some occasions too, they will fill the form for you, and then they will authenticate it for
You're
you.
taking the words right out of my mouth, because I was going to say I've been there when I've seen them filling the form.
They do fill it.
For people.
Yeah, because
right.
they've also got vast experience with regards to how to fill the form.
Sure.
Sometimes just the way you fill a form could be a reason why your passport could be
Yeah,
rejected.
correct.
So it's safer for you to at least to have a guy who knows how to get the work done to fill it for you.
Okay.
But their main purpose of being there is to authenticate the form for you.
Right.
Before it could be verified by the officers, and then it goes through the trail. So once that is done, now what you do is you submit it to an officer. They're going to verify your details to confirm if everything is intact or not. We have to correlate whether what you have on the form is the same things you have in your document that is attached to the form as well. Because you have your BC attached, maybe you have your ID card attached to a particular file. So it is our job to confirm if everything correlates to each other.
Sure.
So that is the submission stage. Now when you submit, an officer would have to verify, confirm everything is fine. If there are misnomers, they will ask you to at least work on those ones.
Right.
So once that is done, it is now submitted, they will ask you to come on a different date for the interview.
Yeah. Sure.
Like I said before, you can submit the form on the same day and have your passport the same day interviewed and enrolled.
Yes.
Then the number was lesser compared to how it is as of now.
Yeah.
So
what's
because of this,
carry on.
because of this situation now, what we do is once you submit the form, based on the order in which you came as applicants, now they will give you appointments to come for the interview.
Okay.
So once you come for the interview, that is when they will vet and then do the required interview activities. And now again, you'll be given a different schedule to come for the enrollment procedure.
Okay.
Okay. The enrollment is where we take a picture of you. It's biometrics. We have to take your fingerprints. Everything has to be done. So it takes time in some occasions. At times, we can have about 8 to 10 minutes just on one applicant to finish the entire enrollment procedure.
Okay.
So because of this fact, if you observe, we have 8 days working hours.
Yeah, go on.
Now, if each hour you're spending, let's say you have at least 10 to 8 people being enrolled, you cannot go beyond 300 people on a single day. So as a result of this, we have that limitation as to how much can we enroll on a particular day.
Right.
So once you're done with the interview, then now you're enrolled. So if you're enrolled now, you'll be told, okay, come in 2 weeks' time to collect your passport. The 2-week time is a threshold.
Okay.
Usually we can have the passport ready even before 2 weeks,
Yeah, go on.
in most cases. But what we want to avoid is asking you to come in a week time, and when you come, it is not found.
Yeah, go on. Go on.
So to avoid you having all those hassles now, we just tell you, in 2 weeks' time, come for the passport.
Okay.
In some occasions, applicants who will choose to come before the 2 weeks threshold, and they'll find their passport ready
go on.
as well.
Go on.
So once the enrollment is done, it now goes to the next stage,
Okay.
and that is where now it has to be verification.
Okay. So
Okay, because the officer who enrolls you is a human being. They're bound to make mistakes. So before it goes to the print room, somebody has to sit down, look at what had been enrolled, and confirm if everything is correct or not.
Sure.
Okay.
So once that is done, now it is approved at the final stage, and it goes to production.
Sure.
I mean,
So you're telling us that the people don't have to wait more than 2 weeks.
We give out 2 weeks thresholds.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
I said in some occasions,
It
some would
might.
prefer to in fact go before the 2 weeks threshold.
But
Okay.
Because
it doesn't go beyond is what I'm
no, it doesn't
getting.
go beyond 2
Okay,
weeks.
right. Jasmine, did you want to
yeah, I
comment?
mean, the surge in the passport application means you have to wait longer than before, because I know when my sister was going for hers, it took her 1 week and she got hers.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she got the first day, it was when she was interviewed, the picture was taken, and she was asked to come back the following week. Now it means you have to wait. You have to come for different dates to do interviews and stuffs.
I think there's a need for Gambians to know that a passport is a national document. I mean, it represents your image as a citizen. Wherever
for
you
that,
go.
Saying that who is eligible to apply for
Okay,
this.
we will have to talk about that.
Yeah, go on.
But then now you're talking about it taking longer. I think it's normal for a passport to take longer. Because at our level as immigration officers, we have a mandate to make sure anybody who's given a passport
Is entitled.
entitled for a particular
Yeah,
passport.
right. Yes.
So that is why we have to take our time, do the entire review procedures, confirm
And
if...
we can see the photograph on the screen of what
exactly.
Wow.
So you can
I mean,
Wow.
I drove by, I thought something terrible had happened.
Terrible has happened.
And it had been like this almost 2 weeks now.
Right,
Wow.
right.
It has, every day the number keeps increasing.
Right,
But the
right.
good thing is, if you observe keenly, you can see some barriers,
Right.
right? Or we're able to make sure we manage the crowd.
Okay.
Because we have to also maintain our security and what we use in the office there. So you cannot have access to the office if you have not been called to go in for the submission.
Okay.
So that is the reason why you see some of them outside. We have officers on duty at the gate to control the crowd and what they can do inside.
Right, right.
Because if not, we can more like promote this of a mob in some place.
Okay.
People posing up and down, having that hassle at the end, it affects the way we work. So that is why you see them outside. Most of them here, they already have the schedules. They are told to come on a different date for interviews.
Yes.
But they would rather prefer to be there to try their luck and see if they're able
See
to
if I can
process
get.
it.
So,
So as
please-
a result, it becomes a bit challenging to
Sure.
us.
I
as
think that's an
officers as
appeal
well.
you have to make. But okay, I think Jacqueline asked about who
Yes,
is eligible
to apply.
to get.
So we have different types of passports. Perhaps we can first distinguish that.
Yeah,
okay?
please,
In the Gambia, we give out ordinary passports. That's the one we're talking about as of now.
Okay.
We also have the service passport and the diplomatic passport. Now, I will talk about the ordinary passport.
Okay.
It is to be given to a Gambian. That is somebody who's able to tell us with genuine reason that you are a Gambian. Okay? By nationality, you're able to have your birth certificate, you have your ID card if you're 18 years and above, and we're able to find that evidence that you are a Gambian.
Okay.
We don't just take it for a word. We don't also just take it for documents that you give us. That is why we have the interview stage.
Yeah, cool.
When you give us your documents, you have an ID card. It is our job to also confirm if that ID card that you have given us is actually you.
Yeah, quite.
Because it's document processing. It requires so many issues. So the guy who is supposed to have that ID card is a Gambian. Gambian by birth, by naturalization, by registration, by descent. However you got your citizenship, you are given that chance to get a passport.
Okay.
That's obvious.
All right.
Yeah.
And so, could you just talk quickly about service passports? Because I know some of my colleagues from GRTS were meant to travel, and there was something to do with service passports coming through, not coming through, and they weren't able to travel. So, what's a service passport exactly? Because I didn't know even what it is. What is a service
So
passport?
the service passport is given to usually, sometimes government officials going on
Right.
official missions, but
Right.
they're not diplomats.
Right,
Okay?
right.
You're
right.
going out on a government mission
Which is what-
officially,
yeah.
but then you are not seen as a diplomat. Because diplomats also have their own category.
Right.
Let's say, for example, if you have Gambia Armed Force officers going on a peace mission, for example, somewhere,
Right.
because they're going out on a government sanctioned official mission, they can be given the service passport to
Right.
at least facilitate their work outside.
Just for that.
That is
mission.
what differentiates it from that of ordinary passports.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also sometimes if you have certain grade point in the government pay scale, you're entitled to have that as well.
Okay, right.
Yes.
And-
But then
and-
that it is given to those who are going on official missions. as
And
well.
what's the length of the passport? How many years is the passport?
Well,
Gambian
passports by
passport?
default it's 5 years.
5 years.
Yes,
Okay.
it's 5
In
years.
Britain, it's 10. That's why I asked.
Oh, okay.
I've never understood. And also, your driving license here is for 1 year. Britain, once you get it, that you've got it. You never have to
Right.
renew it.
But we've seen on the news as well that there has been a decline in the printing of ID cards, or they are not printed at all.
Okay.
Tell us about that.
Well, ID card, it's a different
It
area.
is a different
a
area,
bit different
yes.
from passport, like
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah.
Of course, we had been issuing ID cards over the year.
Yeah.
Okay, we are able to enroll applicants for the ID cards. They're able to get their printouts and everything. Even as that now, those who need to get their passports, they cannot do so without the ID card. So what we do is, if your ID card is expired, you are asked to at least go to the office, renew your ID card.
Right.
And then the fact that we are not printing, because that is where we have the
Yeah.
switch stand.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, they are not being printed as of now. You are all aware that probably like sometime around February and March, the SEMLEX contract with the government ended.
Expert.
Yeah.
And then the ID card project was taken over by the government entirely.
Okay.
Okay, so in the subsequent month, we had a challenge with issues of consumerist,
Okay.
why we can now focus on printing the ID card. And that is why it had not been printed of
Okay.
recent. Okay, at our level, we are just there to implement and also provide the service to the Gambian population. We know that ID card is a right upon every single Gambian, and that is why we had to look for a subsequent way to at least safeguard the interest. Okay, in previous years, we don't issue printouts for ID cards. What we give you is the ID card. But when we knew that we are not able to now produce the ID card with the card not being available, what can we do now to at least serve your purpose as Gambian people. That is when we came up with the use of the printout.
Sure.
And we had to, in fact, engage the bankers, we engage other individuals, that right now we're not able to produce the ID cards. But if an applicant comes with a printout, it is officially from us as a department.
Okay.
And it could be seen for the same purpose to also help them transact those purposes as well.
Okay.
So we are not printing as it now, but we are still issuing when it comes to enrollments and all of that.
Okay.
So you're not issuing. A colleague is asking about ECOWAS passports. Is that anything to do with the Gambia Immigration Department?
ECOWAS passports, as in?
Yes. Well, one of our colleagues, Fanta Jajusi, we were in the office one day and she said to me, I have an ECOWAS passport. I said, oh, I'd never heard of an ECOWAS passport. And she showed me passport.
Okay.
I
Is
tried
the design different from that of?
It's, yes.
That's
It's
right now, the one we're implementing is the ECOWAS biometric ID card.
Right, okay.
Yes, our ID card is ECOWAS biometric.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
The passport, if it is supposed to be ECOWAS, the features maybe have not been yet into that
You're
passport.
right, okay. Yes, okay. Because I tried to apply, then they said, no, you weren't born in an ECOWAS country, which I wasn't. I was born in England, so I couldn't, even though my parents.
Right.
So you have to be born here.
Okay.
But I think my colleague just wanted
who gives
to.
out the ECOWAS passport?
Well, that's why my colleague was asking, but
Yeah.
I'll contact Fanta and,
Okay.
and ask her
That's fine.
How she got it and where she got it from.
Yeah.
Uh,
We actually
because
give
she
out
actually
the,
showed me
we
the
actually give
physical
out the
passport.
ECOWAS biometric ID card.
Okay,
now.
right.
But the passport also is recognized globally.
Yeah.
Whether you're in ECOWAS or you're going anywhere different from ECOWAS,
Sure.
it's recognized.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. So if you were to make an appeal to the public regarding the reason we're talking about this surge, finally, what would that appeal be, really?
I think it would be a similar thing like we put in our communications. I want Gambians to understand that immigration is there to serve them. I mean, we're in uniform because we're supposed to serve the Gambian population. And then whatever service that we offer, if you observe keenly, whether it is the ID card, whether it is the passport, it is for the Gambian population. So it is important for us to at least have that collaboration with the public. We've been trying to make sure we communicate to people effectively. On our social media handles, on radios and TVs, we always dare to talk to them.
Yeah.
But then now, what is the challenge is Gambians would want to get a document with the context of urgency.
Yes.
And that is where we have the issue. Because you cannot presume that a document has to be urgent.
Right.
If we do not do our work rightfully,
Yes.
those are the very same applicants who will sit on a back seat and start talking about the way we do our work. So we have to take our time and get our work done in the most ideal way. So what we need from them is cooperation.
So
if we are given appointments, please
Right.
maintain the
Wait,
appointment schedule.
Do you issue things like emergency travel certificates?
Yeah, we do. We give
Something
out
might
the
happen, and I need to go to Senegal, for example, and I turn up and I said, look, I don't have any documentation. I need to travel there, and I need documentation. What would you issue in that sort of
Yeah, we have
instance?
emergency traveling certificates.
Right, okay.
It's in fact issued by embassies of the Gambia in other countries as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Because in
that's
some
right, yes.
occasions, let's say she might have a passport and travel to Sierra Leone, for example, and then suddenly the passport
Passport
got
gets
stolen.
lost.
How would
Yeah.
she come back home?
Yeah, quite.
Unless if she's going to naturalize again and stay in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, quite, yeah.
Jokingly. But then, of course, we do give her the ETCs.
Okay, right.
Occasions whereby your passport is stolen while you're away, you're not able to come back, we can give you ETC.
Sure.
The ETC is more of like a one-way agenda.
Yeah, quite.
Once you're in, it is no
Yes,
longer
that's
being
got- yeah,
useful,
that's
and you can
right.
work on your passport.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
do issue that.
Okay,
It
right.
is issued at the level of our clearance and naturalization unit as well. It is in the
Okay.
headquarters at Banjul over there.
Okay, right.
So we do.
Okay.
But again, if in other countries where we have embassies too, they sometimes
There's-
issue the
there's that
ETC
as
as
well.
well.
Okay. Well, thank you, ISP. Thank you for coming and
You're
enlightening us and the public
Mhm.
about this thing. And as you said, there's been this surge,
Sure.
some of it driven by, what people have heard about these contracts that might be available to go and work in Spain, and by other things, But in terms of percentage, what would you say the percentage increase has been just in closing? If you can quantify
They
it,
will say numbers do not lie. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
quite.
want to
Yeah, right.
approximate
Yeah,
the
yeah, quite.
percentage.
Okay.
But
I
it's-
am sure we
the
can
crowds-
get the statistics if
the
you go to
crowds
the
tell us,
system,
yeah.
but then I cannot tell you the percentage of,
Okay.
of the applicants,
Yeah.
honestly.
I
Because
think-
once I say so, it becomes a number.
yeah, yeah,
It becomes
quite,
hard
quite.
for you to
Yeah,
substantiate that as well.
Sure.
But the
sure.
number had increased
Beyond,
drastically.
yeah.
It had increased over the past weeks.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
As I said, and please, fellow Gambians, if you are going to go, just if it's not urgent, don't turn up and pretend that it is. There are people who are going there as a matter of urgency. Let them take preference. And if yours is 6 months away, then relax. As you said, they give you a kind of 2 weeks window. That's more than enough, really. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we take a break now, and after the break, we will be talking about another interesting matter, a deal between Austria and the Gambia on a defense pact that we've just signed. Yes, we really have. Join us after this break.
QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sinubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
Hidandi da wawi sodude cash power e Q money wallet maong te ayobata hai hunde ida wawi sode ko yehi ha guluji $30.